and spinning, and of course the feed on the computer actually starts a little bit later. So I may be live at this moment. I don't really know, but I can always go back and check and know exactly when it does start in there. Looks like we've got quite a few people already here, man, before it even kicks off. We got Jason in here. We got Chaz. We got Cruising. How are we doing? How's everybody doing tonight? It's been a long day for me, and hopefully the sound is okay. I don't have my normal equipment. I am literally on the road, so forgive me if it's not great and everything else. I'm recording actually here in Minneapolis, and I'm actually in the lobby of the hotel. The Wi-Fi is not great in here, so I'm not sure how the picture is going on. Let me know if it sounds too loud or too low. The lobby, we're actually on the campus of the Golden Gophers in Minnesota here. And we're at this hotel that's literally in the middle of campus. So we just had a whole group of college students that just came through. So bear with me if it's a little bit loud in here. It kind of goes in waves. How's everybody doing tonight? We got Nick, I see. We got Brian. We got Evan. We got Swiss Cheese. Swiss Cheese. A sad Cowboy fan. Well, I got to tell you, you can't be any sadder than I am. I'm here in Minnesota for about the next 10 days. It's supposedly going to get really cold, but today was actually about 43 degrees outside. I just literally wore a sweatshirt, and I was actually hot in that. So there's always that. People are wondering, why are you in Minneapolis already? Well, my wife, everybody knows, works for United Way. And they've got actually a thing at Super Bowl X here, and it's a whole virtual reality thing, character playbook. It is really cool as can be. I've told you guys about character playbook and things like that, but they have a virtual reality thing. You put the headset on. I've never done virtual reality before or anything else, but you'll remember I went to New Jersey and to Jacksonville. We did some photo shoots and stuff with Calais Campbell, with Demario Davis, Patrick Peterson's part of it, a couple of Minnesota Vikings players and stuff. But anyway, it's basically teaching what a lot of you Eagle fans could really use, character playbook. It's relating with others. You know, this generation doesn't really know how to communicate real well. And what it is it goes through and asks you questions. And your responses are throwing a virtual football at it. And it was wild putting on the hand thing and the headset. And like I said, I've never done virtual reality. Maybe you guys do it all the time. I don't know. But it was literally grabbing the football. And then all of a sudden, all this stuff's flying at you. And you're trying to throw the footballs to keep it from crashing on you. So it's really cool. And I would love to show you guys some pictures that I have right now that I took today because I'm inside NFL Experience. And we're looking at everything that's already being set up. The stuff's being set up, and it's going to be incredible. So if you guys are anywhere near Minneapolis, and if you're planning on going on NFL X, what I'm going to tell you from my experience is the longer the week goes on, it starts tomorrow at 10 o'clock. You want to get down there tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. By Wednesday, it starts getting crowded. Thursday, you forget about getting in line for anything. Friday, don't even go down that way. But they've got everything set up downtown, or they're still working on getting everything set up downtown. They're going to have stages and everything else. Although a lot of the talent won't get here until really about Wednesday. I think that's when like First Take and stuff starts doing their broadcast. So anyway, tomorrow I'll be able to actually share the pictures at 10 o'clock because they don't want any of the stuff leaking out before then. But like I said, it's going to be really cool. I'm going to show you guys a whole bunch of that stuff. With that being said, I've been told by one of you guys out there, I'm not saying who that is, Sandman, that I look like a cross between Albie Shore, Sinbad, and the overweight lover Heavy D. Come on, man. Really? Really? Bundiddly diddly diddly D. Okay. Now I get that out of the way. Mark Sampson, you're still up. Mark Sampson, he ended up doing one of our donations, and he won the DeMarcus Lawrence autographed Jobu t-shirt, and I think he told me it came today. So as soon as he has a picture, it's gone all the way over to London. How are you doing, Jackie? Everybody's doing good. My dad's doing a lot better. I'm up here in Minnesota expecting cold weather, and it's actually nice up here, believe it or not. There's about 10 inches of snow that's melting, but everything's good up here. I wish I could say the same for our Dallas Cowboys. Mike Fisher, him and I basically have a new thing, hashtag Joe Booze tweet at Mike Fisher daily. And I've been tweeting at him every day, and usually he responds back, and mostly it's been about Dez Bryant. He believes that the Cowboys are going to keep Dez Bryant. He believes that they're just going to restructure his contract, make it over 3 years, and yada, yada, yada. I personally think that's a mistake. The reason I think that is do you honestly believe that Dez Bryant has a 3-year shelf life? I'm looking at the amount of injuries that he's had that have been compounded and his production that's been going since he signed that $70 million contract 4 years ago, downhill. At the current rate, what are we going to get from Dez Bryant in 3 years? I'm not sure. Jerry Jones, of course, says he's going to be back. Dez Bryant's in our plans and so on. But I've always said Jerry Jones is over here being Jerry, talking all the stuff and getting all the attention while all the real decisions. Oh, man, thank you very much. I'm not sure who that is. That is Pyrex 6674. You're going to be added to our drawing. I'm not sure I'm going to do it. Actually, I can't do it here this week because all the names are back at home. But when I get back, I'll get something special from here at the Super Bowl, and we'll use that for drawings. But thank you very much. But I've always said that Jerry Jones is over here being Jerry, being the Maverick, being the front and taking the heat, the lightning rod for the Dallas Cowboys. While over here, Stephen Jones and Will McClay running the organization. And I got to tell you, if you look at everything that Stephen Jones has been talking this week, it's like we got a good cop and a bad cop. We got Jerry Jones talking about, oh, yeah, we got Dez Bryant. He's great and everything else. He's in our plans. But more than one occasion this week, you had Stephen Jones saying things like, for the amount of money, we know how much money we're paying Dez Bryant. We expect more. Coming back and saying, the off-field tantrums are a distraction. He's becoming the enforcer and the heavy, the player, a personnel director, so to speak. He's put Zeke Elliott kind of on notice, saying the stuff that went on last year, we cannot have happen. So to me, it looks like and sounds like Stephen Jones is really grabbing more and more power from the team. We famously know about Jerry Jones wanting to draft Johnny Manziel, but having the draft card ripped out of his hands. Yeah. So is Jerry Jones the owner in name only right now? I dare say over the years that power has been reduced. We used to look at a draft where we would go trade crazy left, right, and everything else. We looked at a team that would make trades like 2 number ones for Roy Williams and things like that. We saw a team that would go sign big-name free agents like Brandon Carr or T.O. But all that stuff has gone to the wayside now. You've seen the team for the first time in forever go through the end of the season without having to gut the team just to get under the cap. We're already $18.5 million under the cap. Last year, we were 20-some over. The year before that, 26 million. So you're looking at a team that's being run different. Has anybody witnessed alleged NFL game corruption? I'd say the catch, no catch there, Sandman. Shallow Hal, who is a Dak Prescott hater. How you doing tonight? We need defense, definitely. Well, here's the thing. I know it's hard to believe, but our defense actually didn't do that bad when we had everybody on the field. For the most part, the defense got better, believe it or not, from where they were in 2013. It's a fact. Our problem was our defense had a lot of parts that were missing between Zeke Elliott, between Tyron Smith, between Lyle Collins, starting at tackle. So we had some pieces that went to the wayside. We had Dak Prescott having a harder way to go because he got a lot more hits and a lot less running than he had the year before. Jason, if you go to my website, cowboyjobu.com, you can get yourself a shot glass if you want. And if anybody wants to get the Jobu t-shirts, you can get those on there as well, too. I won't be able to ship that till after I get back from the Super Bowl. And one other thing, too. Caesar made me my, I love this hoodie. Made me my hoodie. And if anybody's actually interested in those, I have to actually get those made up in a lot. If anybody's interested in those, send me an email at cowboymark94@gmail.com so that way I can see if there's any response for that. But our offense truly took a lot of steps back. The wide receivers didn't have as much success. Des Bryant looks to be more of a shell of himself. He says he had tendonitis. That may be true. But since the injuries that he's had over the last couple of years, he's just not the same player anymore. And compound that with all of the dropsies, Des Bryant is no longer an elite receiver anymore, at least not in my mind. Well, here's the thing. I tell you what, Minneapolis, the funny thing is when you go to, say, Miami to have a Super Bowl, it's kind of like you guys are here messing up my beach time. Mike, thank you very much, Mike, for the super chat. I appreciate that. You're going to be entered into our next drawing, too. When you go to, like, Detroit and Minnesota, because it's a bad weather place, usually they try a lot harder. And I got to tell you, it was cool as can be because we're here, for, like I said, for 10 days. Okay? I got a wife who's got basically 3 big bags of stuff, okay? She's packed for all kinds of events and everything else, and the cold weather. I've got 2 bags myself, and one of them is basically camera equipment. So here we are getting off the plane and baggage, and we've got all of these damn bags. Chaz, thank you very much. I think we are going to have a good 2018, and I'm going to get to that in just a second. This porter comes through, and he's like, let me help you with the bags. And I've never had anybody so friendly before. He carried our bags not only through the airport, to the tram, all the way to the car rental place, and from the car rental place, and even put them in our vehicle. I'm just like, damn. The lady at the car rental place, she's like, oh, well, let me give you guys like an upgrade on a car, and gave us a bigger car, you know, and things like that. And I'm just like, everybody is so super friendly. At the hotel here, I told the guy that this weekend is my 14th anniversary with my wife, 15 years of actually being together. They upgraded us to a great room, I mean, an incredible room. So it's just like everything has been so nice here. The only thing that's going to ruin is the New England Patriots and the Eagles are going to show up in a few days. And I got to tell you, I'm not looking forward to seeing either of those 2 fan bases. It's just this. You Eagle fans out there think that I'm bitter and I hate you guys and this, that, and that. No. When I make these videos and talk about you guys, it's because it's a football rivalry. And don't get butthurt because I can talk the talk and throw it right back at you. You guys have been coming after me for weeks. The moment I say something, all of a sudden you guys say, you're butthurt and you're just mean. You need to delete this. Man, come on. Grow a pair. Grow up. Don't dish it out if you can't take it. Chaz, here's the thing that's great about the NFL. Everything goes in cycles. It just does. Unless you're the New England Patriots, who I believe sold their soul to the devil, you go up and down. You might stay up for a few years, you know, like Seattle did. Their window is definitely kind of closed. You still got Russell Wilson, but you're looking at rebuilding their defense. They basically got to reload and start over. You look at the NFC playoff picture from last year. All the teams that didn't make it that were in last year. You know, us, Green Bay, Seattle. It's a natural turnover. Now, you get that easier schedule, you get some better draft picks, you kind of reload, you pull up some more free agents, and then you kind of bounce back. Well, at 9-7, we don't have too far we have to bounce. In fact, 9-7 most years would have had us in the playoffs. So if we can get a few things, and this is where I think Jerry Jones' thinking is, you know, Jason Garrett, he's not perfect, as he puts it. He makes some bad mistakes from time to time, but he's his guy. I think they're figuring if Zeke Elliott doesn't get suspended and stays healthy, that's a big difference in the team. If they can get their cornerbacks to have a year behind them now, you know, with a Woozy, if Woods, if Lewis, if these guys can take off from where they left off here, as opposed to starting off as true rookies, the defensive backfield all of a sudden looks like a strength really than a weakness. And if Lyle Collins gets his back healthy and has another year under his belt from playing tackle, maybe the offensive line kind of gels, we get another player here and there, and all of a sudden you say, okay, the Eagles are going to have a target on their back. They're still playing right now while we're resting. So the natural curve is they're going to take a step back. Nobody has repeated in the NFC East since the 2003-2004 season. So it's possible. My biggest fear, of course, is still Jason Garrett. Thank you, Jason, for the congratulations. I appreciate that. And it's funny because my wife is like, where are you going? It's like, I got to go downstairs and do a live stream. She's like, yeah, on a Friday night while we're here at a hotel. I was like, yeah, I got to do this. I said, you know, can't let my fans down. Well, LA Metal, here's the thing. You can't go by what happened this year as far as the schedule. Did you think the Rams were going to be any good this year? Yeah, they're actually pretty good. So teams are going to rise and fall. At the moment, it may look really hard, but in reality, it may not look that bad. You know, we're playing the AFC South. Tennessee, does Mariota really scare you? No. Do the Colts scare you? No. Jacksonville, yeah, they scare you. So there's games in there that you're going to win. The Redskins, they may be starting all over a quarterback. They don't really scare me. The Giants, they are literally starting completely over. They don't really scare me. The Eagles, well, maybe they'll have the Super Bowl hangover. But it's not about them. It's about what do we put out on the field. And I believe we have players that can hang with anybody if they're coached well. And that's the big if. Well, the funny thing is we could go back through and point at a couple of little things that could have made all the difference in the world. Against Atlanta, had Ryan Switzer not fumbled that punt, I think we were in the playoffs. Because we had the momentum in that game. We had that thing running away. But for them to get the ball right there, right then, got them back in the game. They finished off the half with the ball. Then they got the ball in the second half. By that time, they had that momentum and went on through and won. Had we won that game, we would have been 10-6 and would have had a good shot at being in the playoffs. Or you could look at the Seattle game. Maybe instead of passing on first down on the 3-yard line or passing on second down on the 2-yard line, maybe, just maybe, had we run Zeke Elliott, maybe we scored that touchdown, maybe we won that game, and maybe that was the 10-6 game. So if we had won one or the other of those games, all of a sudden you're looking at the season a whole lot different at 10-6 versus 9-7. Right or wrong? Capital City Music Man, you know, I feel we need a game-changing receiver. I don't feel like we have one right now with Des Bryant. And I look at it as a big chunk of change that we're spending on him. There's going to be some good free agent wide receivers that are going to be out there. Question is, will the Cowboys open up the checkbook and try and make a move for them? They haven't been players in free agency. But I think they almost need to. And I feel like this year is the year that Jason Garrett truly is on the hot seat. And the reason being is that 7-year contract, he's got 2 years left on it. And what always happens with the coach, very rarely do you ever see a coach on the end of a contract in the last year. They don't want to have a lame duck coach, if for no other reason than the name only. If Jason Garrett doesn't perform next year, if we have the same kind of result where we're out of the playoffs in one game or don't make the playoffs, I believe Jerry Jones moves on because he's not going to sign a new contract after another failure. At least that's the way I feel. Apparently Mike Fisher feels the same way too. He's kind of saying that, Jerry Jones is not going to come out and say it, but you can't help but think that you've had 7 years and only 2 playoff appearances, and if it goes 8 years with only 2 playoff appearances, there's no way in the world you can keep him. Now, somebody brought up an interesting statistic, and it's kind of bad. Since the Super Bowls have been going around, no coach has been with the same team for 7 years and hadn't already won a Super Bowl wins one later. Yeah. So is Jason Garrett the one to buck the trend? I hope so. I pray so. But I don't know. Garrett is a wank. All the way from across the pond. I like that. Dak to the, okay. You know what, Raiders, 420? If you think Dak Prescott needs to go to the XFL, then you also need to think that Derek Carr needs to go in there. Go for, okay. Goat shit, okay. Don't seem to have as many Eagle trolls on here tonight. That's kind of amazing. I guess they've kind of slowed down some. How you doing tonight, Virginia's finest? There's a sea of red here. We've got a college team that's just come in, all Coyotes. I'm wondering if it's going to be a loud night tonight here in the hotel. Jeff, yeah. I appreciate that, but I don't think Jerry Jones wants to put me under contract. Wait, who's optimistic? Michael Cooper, you're optimistic about Jason Garrett? Well, Michael, please tell me what makes you so optimistic. I would love some cheering up when it comes to Jason Garrett. I would love for somebody to give me reasons to have hope. I'm just trying to see what your logic is. What's the food like up here? Well, I'm right now still doing the keto diet right now, and we've actually been running around. I got up at 3 o'clock this morning, caught a flight. We got here. We've been over NFLX. Had to run around, take care of our passes and this, that, and the other. So we haven't actually stopped at any place and really had a really good meal. We had breakfast at the restaurant here at the hotel, and we're going to try some stuff later on. We're told about this restaurant that's downtown that has, on the top of the building, it has all glass. It's like a glass dome, so you feel like you're sitting outside in the elements, but you've got glass, so we're going to try that out. And they've got some really cool things that are going on here. One of the things that I really, truly wanted to do, but it's been sold out since January 10th already. They have a tramway that goes 850 feet over the river. Let me say that again. 850 feet long tramway that goes over a frozen river. So, yeah, I really wanted to do that, but unfortunately, it's all booked up. They've sold all 10,000 tickets. I'm not sure I'm ready to be a Dallas Cowboy coach, but thanks, I appreciate it. Well, everybody, Am I taking wifey to the draft in Dallas or just Joe Boo? Ooh. Well, the last 3 years, she's actually been working at the draft, so it may be that she's at the draft and then I'm going to the draft. We'll have to wait and see, but either way, I know me, Joe Boo, are definitely going to be at the draft. Raiders 420. Here's what's kind of funny. As bad as everybody talks about how Dak Prescott is, you guys do realize he had a 4-touchdown game this season. Had 4 games where he had 3 touchdown passes. Still had 22 touchdown passes, which is actually more than your boy Raider 420, more than Matty Ice had, more than Marcus Mariota. So when you look at Dak Prescott only being a second-year quarterback, and people want to compare him to Tony Romo and stuff, but Tony Romo sat behind, Drew Bledsoe and worked with Sean Payton for 5 years before he hit the field. Dak is not doing bad. And I think next year, as people get healthy, we make some changes on the team, Dak Prescott will be fine. Dak is not our problem.
Good job.
Yeah, well, Jackie, you would wonder if this is actually a Cowboys chat or not with some of the Eagle trolls. But I believe next week we won't see them for quite a while. Well, the question you have to ask is, with us hiring the future defensive coordinator, I actually am going to say, I think when Rod Marinelli leaves, that this is going to be the guy that's going to be elevated. And him having the connections with the Seahawks. When you play for a guy and you have success with him, you really kind of like that guy. You want to follow him. I believe that there could be a good chance, because I think Seattle is going to jettison a lot of those contracts that they have on that defense and start over. Those guys are getting too much. Michael's back in Virginia. He couldn't come on the trip with us. So, unfortunately, he's home. You might see Earl Thomas actually here in Dallas next year. Don't be surprised. Jackie, I couldn't tell you why there's so much hate for Dak. It's kind of ridiculous. It's nice weather right now. It was about 42 degrees today. Actually, I don't think it's below freezing outside right now. But as the week goes on, next week the temperature is going to be going down. So we're looking at basically, I think, about 4 degrees by next Friday. Well, I appreciate it, Eagles fans for life. Is anybody out there going to be at the Super Bowl this week? If anybody who's watching and all that want to get together, have a meetup at NFL Experience or at a bar or something like that, let me know if you guys are going to be in town. Most of the Cowboys hater have less than 5. Yeah, some of them don't have any. Well, thanks, Lieutenant Mathers. Lieutenant Mathers, guys, is actually an Eagle fan, and he's actually one of the good ones. That's right. There are some good Eagle fans out there. Angel, you don't believe that Jason Garrett's got to put up or shut up? How you like that? I like that. Well, it's so funny about, we've got the Raider fan that comes on here, who always talks about how bad the commentary is and things. But it's amazing because that Raider fan is on here more than pretty much anybody else. It must not be that bad if you're here all the time commenting, or your life is just that pathetic. Mark, actually, I saw it. I got the message there, buddy. Interesting. See, a lot of people are actually mentioning the XFL. Me and my wife actually were having a conversation about that because she's like, oh, well, they may end up being able to rival the NFL. And I'm kind of like, don't think so. Vince McMahon's been there, done that, lasted for 1 year. Yeah, they can try and start something up. I mean, you could say that the Arena League is still in existence, but it's not rivaling the NFL. The NFL is just too big. They've got too many markets. They've got the best players. And my wife's like, well, there's a lot of great players that are out on the streets. And I'm kind of like, no, actually, there's really not. You've got a lot of players that wish that they were great players. But when you look at the NFL, it's hard for teams to keep one complete roster of guys. And they lose a couple of them. And there aren't many good players to fill in. Take a look at our team where we went from Tyron Smith to Chaz Green. Yeah. Chaz Green types are going to be in the XFL. Johnny Manziel's are going to be in the XFL. So how much stock do you guys want to put into the XFL? And I look at the USFL when you had guys like Jim Kelly that were playing in there, Gary Clarks and things like that. And they couldn't make it. And they had legitimate owners with money. So I don't think there's going to be much as far as the XFL. I just don't see it being anything more than, I mean, it may make it for a year or two, but it's not going to be like on CBS on Sundays against the NFL and people are going to turn away from it. That's not going to happen. Sandman, that is a good question because NFL players are talking about Jason Witten, how long can he play at an elite level? I hate to say that his play is actually beginning to come down. He still catches the ball, he still gets open, but you're seeing his statistics basically go down, I think 1.3 yards per carry this year over last year. And unfortunately, he's still getting deeper and deeper. However, you don't want to give up on that kind of guy. That kind of guy you like to have around because he's a winner, he knows how to play, and he can teach some of the young guys. And we do not have anybody who's better in the kitty right now. Yeah, well, I won't be a big XFL fan, I mean, you think about, it's just not it. Mr. ESPN, how are you doing? Mr. ESPN, maybe you could answer me why ESPN is basically turning their back on what originally brought them to notoriety, and that was being real sports journalists, and why they're deciding that YouTube is the way to go. Starting on Wednesday, they're going to be streaming on Facebook and Twitter, First Take. Mark Sampson, do we draft a wide receiver or do we go for one in free agency? You got to look and see who's going to be available as far as free agency. I would almost like to get a veteran wide receiver, someone with experience who could step in right away and make an impact. Do I think the NFL is rigged? I think that there's some calls that are biased by officials. I think there's some officials, just like in basketball, that some players get the benefit of the doubt and get the calls. And I believe like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady are ones that get the calls. I won't say that it's legislated from the top that says this is what you're going to do, but you're always going to have your favorite guys that you're going to look out for. If you look at how, if somebody touches Tom Brady's getting the flag. You look at how some people beat Cam Newton headshot to headshot and he doesn't get a flag. You can't tell me that that's apples to oranges and that's the same for both of those guys, because it's not. When you look at how we were officiated as far as holding goes, sometimes some of these guys were literally choking them from behind and pulling them backwards. And I will say that there's some bias. I won't say that it's necessarily from the top down, but you're going to have some officials that just don't like some players. They play favorites. I agree. Jobu is welcome at Eagles territory any day. Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that I'm being welcomed and every day. I'm hoping that's just not a trick, to make me feel comfortable and relaxed, and then I get jumped. You can tell I lost weight. Actually, I've lost about 14 pounds so far doing the whole keto thing. I'm not sure if it's really the keto, if I've gotten into ketosis or whatever, but I've stopped eating bread, and I've stopped kind of on the sugar and cut back on the candy bars and things like that. So I think just getting rid of that sugar and those carbohydrates has definitely helped. Do I think defense is going to be great next year? Well, that's going to depend on quite a few things. Health. Do we re-sign DeMarcus Lawrence? Do we re-sign David Irving? Thought is on David Irving is it'll be another one-year deal. They're not ready to commit to Excuse me. I apologize, guys. I got 3 hours sleep last night. DeMarcus Lawrence, they're saying all the right things. If they're going to get a deal one way or the other, they're going to franchise tag, he'll be back. The question will be is, who else is going to be there? How well will Taco step up? Will Taco be able to replace Tyrone Crawford and give us a little more? If that's the case, then that's great. Will David Irving stay on the field without suspensions and injury? That's a big deal in the defense. Can Sean Lee stay healthy, or can we find a good linebacker to take his place? I know the Cowboys are not big free agent players. It's going to be interesting. I've talked about this guy a couple of times. And I'm beginning to talk about him like I did Calais Campbell last year. But Demario Davis, I'm interested to see what the Jets do with him. They originally drafted him. He got traded to Cleveland and just didn't do well last year, or excuse me, the year before. They brought him back on a dirt cheap, I think, $1-point-something million contract. And he played lights out. He's a free agent this year. Don't know if the Jets are going to try and re-sign him or not. They'd be foolish not to. But he had 97 solo tackles and led the league. I think 138, 140 tackles on the season. If we got a guy like that to play in the middle, let Jalen Smith heal up some more and use him in the right spots, keep Sean Lee on the weak side over there and in bubble wrap, and our secondary steps up, all of a sudden, yeah, we could be a really, really good defense. But you've got to have all those things fall in alignment together. Michael Irvin should be the Dallas Cowboys head coach. That'd be interesting. Oh, I would say Mark Sampson, put in there a swing tackle. We have got to have a guy who can play on the line, kind of like Larry Allen did. Larry Allen played everything but center on our offensive line, and no matter who got hurt, he could move in and fill in, and that's what we need. We'll sign them, Demario Davis. Yeah, well, I would love to. I tell you what, Demario Davis would definitely be the guy I'd love to have. Sam, man, dog, you're talking to me, man. You remember what I said last year? Who was the guy that I said the Dallas Cowboys should sell the farm on last year? I was told I was an idiot. Too old. Doesn't get enough sacks. Yeah. Calais Campbell. Damn. Up for Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, that guy. Well, Corey, here's the thing. He better be thinking about hiring Will McClay as the GM, because teams are noticing what he's been able to bring in as far as talent goes and realizing he's kind of like an Ozzie Newsome in Baltimore. He finds a lot of guys that nobody thinks about, and somebody sooner or later is going to pick him up, and we're going to be sorely missed without having him. Does Dez improve in the passing game next year? I still don't believe that Dez is going to be here next year. But that's me. Go visit Prince's house. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I'd put that on the list. One thing I always do whenever I go to someplace I haven't been before is I ask somebody local, what is the one thing you have to do here before you leave? When you went to Detroit, they said, get out alive. So far I've asked a few people, and most people are like, in the wintertime, it's kind of cold. You really just don't want to go out much. So I'm kind of like, okay, I don't know what the one thing is to do. Michael is back at home. He didn't come on this trip. Basically, Michael's quote is, I don't want to see no damn Eagles play in the Super Bowl, much less the New England Patriots. I'm not even watching. So why would I want to go to Minnesota in the cold to see that? I said, you know what, son? You got a damn good point. Is Gathers, Rico Gathers? Well, I tell you what, if you guys haven't seen his Instagram, dude is performing on Instagram, I tell you that. He's jamming, he's dancing, he's singing, he's rapping and all that. I'm hoping he's focusing in on football too, but apparently that concussion's all right because that music is blaring. I can go ice fishing. Yeah, that's okay. I am in downtown Minneapolis. Is it University of Minnesota? Where did my wife leave? Actually, I left my wife upstairs in the room. I came down to the lobby here. The atmosphere here is actually kind of cool. You'll notice this picture I thought was actually really cool over here that's behind me playing. I was actually going to sit on this side. There's a great fireplace that's over there. The place is actually beautiful. What does Dak-friendly offense mean? A wide receiver that can get open. Better blocking, so you're not having guys like Chaz Green in there giving up 6 sacks. A tight end other than Jason Witten who can catch the ball. And better play calling. I think one of the biggest problems is our shit is vanilla. It just is. I can sit in my living room and tell you what they're going to be running on most plays. So when you have defensive coordinators that are studying game film after game film after game film, week after week after week, they learn what your offense is. They're learning what the sets are. In fact, they're learning what your calls are, your checks to me's. They're looking at every aspect of it. And if you're not changing things up and giving new looks, different signals, different calls, different formations, you're screwed. In the NFL, very rarely can you just out-muscle another team. And that's where we were this past year. They thought we can just out-muscle people with our offensive line. We'll have Zeke Elliott, we'll be able to pound the ball, and everything will be hunky-dory. Well, guess what? Other teams study the film, found your weakness, and realized, hey, instead of our defensive linemen trying to go man-on-man against those big offensive linemen of the Cowboys, let's run blitz. Let's shoot the gaps. Let's get them out of their comfort zone. Let's make Zeke Elliott, instead of having a hole this big to run through, let's make him have to make a move in the backfield. And it worked. As much as everybody will say, Zeke Elliott, we couldn't win without Zeke Elliott. The fact of the matter is, Alfred Morris gained more yards per carry as well as Rod Smith than Zeke Elliott did. To the first few games of the season, Zeke Elliott was averaging under 4 yards a carry. Not exactly great, not considering that he was almost 5 yards last year. So the defense has figured that out. When you watch some of the other teams in the NFL, you'll see bunch formations and things. You'll see double stacked receiver formations. You'll see them throw in a flea flicker from time to time. Things to keep other teams off balance. How often do you see the Cowboys doing anything like that? Any razzle-dazzle, anything that kind of is different than the North? Everything. Oh, Lordy. Everything is pretty much the same. Yes, it's a nice hotel. Of course, during Super Bowl, the price of everything goes up. Ricky Lee, thank you very much for the super chat. Well, here's the thing. What I'm glad about, last year I thought this was actually a strength. Last year they brought all the coaching staff back, almost completely back. And I thought, okay, that'll give everybody more time in the system and that'll be great, then everybody will learn it. Actually, everything got stagnant and everybody else caught up. But I think having different perspectives, different coaches that have been to different places will kind of reinvigorate the staff. And hopefully the coaching won't just go down to the assistants, that some of the assistants coaching will go up to the coordinators. And I think that can help out a lot. And I'm believing that when I look at Seattle's defense, and if we can put some of that aggression in on our defense, don't get me wrong, I love our defense. But I look at a Byron Jones, and Byron Jones, we've kind of screwed him up because his rookie year going from corner to safety and back and forth, I don't think he's really gotten his legs down to where he knows what he really is. He's not aggressive. He doesn't play with an edge. Sean Lee, fantastic player, but doesn't quite have that edge. He just carries his lunch pail to work every day, and he plays. But he's not a motivator of everybody else other than leading by example. I'm not much of a guy who likes trash talkers. But if you're going to be a trash talker, back that shit up. And I look at how Seattle used to play. They talked some trash, but they backed it all up on the field. They shut people down. And that's something that it's been missing from this Cowboy team for quite a while. Mark, is it Faux Buggy? Faux Buggy? I'm sorry, you lost me on that one. Thomas Chavez, I got to ask you, are you actually a Cowboy fan? Because you are always talking bad, I mean, we can win a game and you'll still talk bad about the team. What's up with that? Film productions, I do believe Seattle is in the bind right now. They were fortunate enough that Russell Wilson was a late round draft pick. They didn't have to pay him a whole lot of money, so they could spend money in free agency. Well, the problem with free agents is this. Basically, you got a 2-year shelf life, and after that, they spoil. And by that, I mean you look at most free agents, after 2 years, they're jettisoned out. Jason Hatcher went to the Redskins. After that 11-sack season, I think he had 6 those next 2 years together, boom, he's gone. You look at a guy like Namdi when he signed with the Eagles, 2 years. You look at the Giants defense that 2 years ago was the bomb, that $250 million defense. Well, most of those guys are going to get jettisoned this year because you can't afford them. So that's where Seattle is right now. They've paid a lot of guys. Their salaries are just too high. They've got to get rid of them. So, look at them, get rid of them, look to bring in some young guys, maybe some free agents, and definitely in the draft. But those higher priced guys are going to go. And I believe Earl Thomas is one of those guys that's going to go. And I dare say he's already said he'd like to be in Dallas. And now, you've got his coach that helped create the Legion of Boom going to Dallas. That just go ahead and put more of the ante right there saying, I want to be with that guy. So, yeah, I definitely could see that possibly happen. Oh, boy. Sandman, I would love to get some current players to wear Jobu hoodies. But that's not easy to do. But, yeah, if there's a way, I'll definitely figure it out. This is where I don't want to say this too loud, but I understand what the NFL is doing, that if you get a new stadium, you're getting a Super Bowl. This is nothing against Minnesota. I'm telling you, the people are fantastic. They are friendly as can be. You don't want to go to New York and have a Super Bowl. It's cold and the people are assholes. Miami, South Beach, most beautiful women in the world. Still, not a great place to go for a Super Bowl. Traffic's bad, everything's spread out. Not a great experience. But at least the women aren't wearing a whole lot. The place you really want to go for a Super Bowl, if you really want to see women and great times and everything else, is New Orleans. New Orleans is the place to go. The food, the liquor, and the women. And the Super Bowl is pretty close to Mardi Gras. So you go down Bourbon Street and just make sure you got plenty of beads and you'll have a great time, Virginia's finest. Alexa tripping, okay. Go Pats. Official. So let me ask you guys, how many of you guys are going to watch the Super Bowl? How many of you guys are rooting for one team or the other? And I'd like to take a poll and see, who are you rooting for? How many people are hoping that we get a Super Bowl in the division and that the Eagles finally get the monkey off their back? Anybody? Anyone? Which one is better on what, Pedro? But also take the shot. I'm sorry. Zone blocking. Generally speaking, zone blocking, I got to tell you, like the Denver Broncos used to be fantastic with zone blocking because they had a smallish offensive line and it's basically blocking in a spot. Power blocking is basically man on man. I don't care who's in front of me. I've got that guy and we're going to take him on out. Zone blocking is more using angles, traps, and things like that. So, you know, you've got a guy that's in the gap or you've got a guy that's in the center. The guard's going to block down with flow. That way he's got the angle and hopefully can get him out of balance. If you have the personnel to power block, like I said, you know, Tyron Smith, when healthy, can move anybody out of the way. I like to be able to say, my guy is going to kick your guy's ass. Okay, so my Cowboy family will be live streaming during the Super Bowl. That'll be cool. I will be at the stadium at the game and it's live streaming for 4 hours after waiting probably in 3 hours in line to get in there. Probably won't have the battery life to be able to do it and don't know how well the Wi-Fi will do it. I did last year's Super Bowl, was able to pop videos before, a few during, and some, of course, after. In fact, I did the halftime show immediately afterwards, which was great. Green is my favorite color, but not Philly green. I like that. Well, I gotta be honest. I don't really want either of them to win, but I definitely want the Eagles to win less. That's about the only way I can put it. Julian, there hasn't been, this is what's crazy. There hasn't been a Super Bowl in California. Oh no, I'm sorry. There was the 49ers. I forgot that was 2 years ago. That wasn't good because the problem with Santa Clara is Santa Clara was south. San Francisco was like 40 miles north. You had most of the festivities and stuff downtown San Francisco. You know, everything else, of course, at the Super Bowl. We stayed in between, but we got 20 miles to go either way, and it just wasn't fun. New Orleans is the place because once you get into the city of New Orleans, you don't need a car. You walk to Bourbon Street. You walk to the casino. Restaurants are everywhere. Hell, liquor's on the streets. And the stadium is literally right there on one side of town. You got everything you need in New Orleans. It's the place to have Super Bowls, I'm telling you. See you later, my man. Virginia finest. Oh, man. Doing a cracker, okay. I didn't hear about Michael. I've actually not seen anything sports-wise hardly at all today. I really wanted to get studying on the Senior Bowl tomorrow, some of the prospects and things, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to have time to even watch it. The state of hockey, okay. Stupid song, Fly Eagles Fly, yeah. Oh man, Jeff, don't worry. As soon as I get done here, I got 5 more minutes. I am exhausted. I am gonna go spend some time with the wife, but she's probably passed the F out since we got 3 hours sleep last night. I need to take over First Take. I'm debating on whether or not I want to try and go to First Take. It's basically getting up about 4 hours before the show and getting in line. And it's like, do I want to troll them that bad? Do I really? Mafia Cowboys, Joey, is, I don't know where your shout out is, Mafia Cowboys. So you mean to tell me there's still a Super Bowl? Yeah, Rondell, there is a Super Bowl. I didn't hear that one about Jalen Ramsey. That's news to me. Hey, Sarah, I didn't know you used to live up here. So far, not too bad. It's been crazy, hectic running around, and I'll be honest, I am completely exhausted right now. I miss my set back at home. I was enjoying getting that all set up and some of the things we're going to be able to do, but it'll be great to be up here to do some work and stuff. Oh, Sam, man, just send me your address and I'll take care of that for you. Eagles will choke again. I will be banned from First Take. I've actually been there 3 times. I've actually been there, and the producers actually know me on the show there. In fact, I've got a clip where one of them said, where he's out front, and he says it's all about Joe Boo, man. It's all about Joe Boo. So we're good. And truth be told, most of what you see on First Take is fake drama. Okay, I don't think Stephen A. Smith really hates the Cowboys, but he realizes that's how I can get paid. Actually, that's a great idea. Make a video from Prince's crib. But my Cowboys family, well, I think we've got some really good ones, my Cowboys family. I got to check you out some more. I'd like to get you actually on the channel too. I think we got some really great ones. I mean, we the Shango, one of the best ones that are out there. Law Nation is really good. Good night, Mark. I know it's up late for you, man. Thanks for staying up late all the way over there in England. I think we got some really good ones. We got a lot of young ones that are up and coming, like Cowboys, Space Cowboys 17, Cowboys blog and stuff. You know, everybody's out there working hard, and, you know, I think we got some really good ones. And I believe we're going to be doing something big together. Mall of America is not far. I'm actually, I don't know, well, it's the Mississippi River. I'm just across the Mississippi River from the stadium. Basically, we're about 3 miles away from the stadium, and somewhere over there is Mall of America. The one thing everybody's told me to do is stay away from Mall of America. They said you just don't want to go there. It's just bad. Stephen is going to call Joe Boo a doll. Okay. Oh, man, Monty. Man, that's just cold, man. Leave Mike Zimmer alone, man. Don't worry, Sam, man. I am going to get some sleep here. And with that being said, wow, that hour went by fast. I must have slept through it. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in. And Jason, yeah, I am wiped out. I am going to end this broadcast. I'm going to go upstairs, take a shower, and snuggle up with my beautiful wife. and fall the F out. Guys, I will be doing some studying tonight. We'll be working on the Senior Bowl, and I'll be glad to show you guys some great picks from downtown at the NFL Experience, and we're going to be doing some stuff there live tomorrow, so you guys can